I was fired from Savile Row. I wanted to do a lot of novel ideas. I was always questioning things. And so I decided to start AKEILÂ, my first company. As soon as we began AKEILÂ, maybe even 2 months after we started AKEILÂ, COVID hit and the whole world sat still. So I never intended to have my own business, ever. I realized that there's going to be a big problem in the company. How do you train many people at the same time without running the risk of them leaving and you having wasted your time? We decided that we wanted to make these videos in a way that has never been done before. Very simple to understand, extremely articulate. And so I thought, if I make these videos available for free, and you can access them on YouTube, that's going to create a lot of people who can pursue their talents in tailoring. So they don't have to move to the UK, pay for an expensive tailoring school just to learn the basics. Let's say you live in Somalia. There's not an industry for tailoring there, as you would compare to what you have in Italy. Even in London, it's difficult to get good quality trimmings. We are ordering from Italy. Here is one absolute truth. The quality of fit in made-to-measure garments sometimes is better and supersedes that of inexperienced bespoke tailors. That makes the fit of a lot of made-to-measure suits almost to the same level of bespoke tailors. Now, what is then the difference? Why should you pay £3,000 more for a bespoke suit? That's a difficult question to answer.
This episode is brought to you by 1219 Styles. For quality bespoke suits crafted to perfection, all from the comfort of your home, schedule a virtual measurement today at www.1219styles.com.
My name is Reza, and I'm the founder of AKEILÂ, an International School of Tailoring, and you're watching Threads and Profits.
Here we had to do with Reza of International Tailoring School.
Thank you very much.
How you doing, Reza?
Very good. I'm happy to have you here.
Happy to have you on the show as well. So, my name is Michael Okunor of Threads and Profits, and today I have Reza of International Tailoring School.
Yeah.
Reza, do you mind just introducing yourself, telling us about yourself and how the journey started?
Of course. Well, my tailoring journey started very strange because I never intended to be a tailor. I actually wanted to be a graphic designer. And I lived in the Netherlands until I met a friend who had a very nice pair of trousers. And I always had issues with my trousers, even though I was never, the type that was into dressing well. I was just a designer. I never really cared about clothes. But I did care about aesthetics and design. So I asked him where he got his trousers from. And he said, I have a very good tailor in Iran. That's where I'm from originally as well.
Okay.
And I said, well, if you go to Iran one time, and I'm there as well, maybe you should introduce me to the tailor. Eventually, that same summer, we went to Iran together. He introduced me to that tailor, and I got a very bad jacket. I received that jacket after 8 or 9 months. It was so bad that even with my skills now, I cannot reproduce it. It was so bad. So I got very angry when I got that jacket because I had been waiting for it for a very long time. So I thought, I'm going to make it myself. Why should I wait for a tailor to make me a jacket when I can do it myself? And I started making just some commercial shirts. And then I decided to do this a bit more seriously. So I went to a school in The Hague and I tried to apply there. And they told me that I was not fit there. I wasn't suited for their course because I already had built up some experience and I would probably be a bit too far ahead of the other students. And so I said, okay, what do I do? And the guy who was interviewing me, he said, you should go to Italy. And I said, I'm not going to go to Italy. So what do I do? What do I do? I Googled and I found Savile Row and I found Newham College, which was a college in East Ham. And they had a basic course there. So I moved to London in September 2014.
From Netherlands?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I moved to London.
Because of tailoring?
Yes. Yeah, I thought I want to do this seriously. So I moved to Ilford. That's where I went.
Oh.
I rented a room in Ilford. And a year later, my partner joined me, and we started together to live in a flat in Uxbridge. And then from there on, I continued doing my apprenticeship on Savile Row. Mind you, the moment I arrived in London, 2 weeks later, I was already doing work experience on Savile Row. It went very quickly for me. So my plan was to learn how to make a jacket first, then go to Savile Row
And apply.
and apply. But one of my friends said to me in the first week, you should go tomorrow. And so I thought, but I can't do anything. I haven't. So all I did was I brought my samples and I went to Chittlebarrow Morgan at number 12 and I knocked on the door and Michael Brown opened the door. I said, can I come in? And he said, what do you want? And I said, well, I'm a student and these are my samples and this is the work I've been doing. And can I please come in to show, what I can? Because I'd like to be of help. And he said, look, the owner, Joe, is not in today. You should come back tomorrow at 9 a.m. and I'll introduce you to Joe. And so I went there the next day and I started doing work experience 2 days a week.
So there's a way
2 days a week for a whole.
from the first week you
Yeah,
from the
yeah, yeah.
first week you moved from the
Yeah,
Netherlands.
because as I had a very specific goal and I was pretty intense about it. I went in the first week, I learned 5 basic stitches. That entire week, I made like a whole staple of samples.
Wow.
When I went to Chittlebarrow Morgan and I showed them the samples, I had practiced so much in that week that I already had very consistent stitching and it was like small padding stitches and they liked that. So I did two days a week for a year. And then after 1 year, I got employed full-time as an apprentice.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting how your story started from trousers
Yeah.
because me getting into the fashion scene as well,
Yeah.
I must have told the stories quite a number of times.
Yeah.
It was because of my trousers.
Trouser.
How was this? I had a tailor back then, a designer that used to make my suits for me
Yeah.
in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And he made 4 suits for me. He made 4 suits for me.
Mhm.
The 4 trousers of the suits
Right.
couldn't fit.
Ah.
I do not like any of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the process, I saw a friend
Mhm.
and I saw his trouser and I asked him, where did you get this trouser from?
Yeah.
He said, he made them. How did you make this?
Yeah.
I've been looking for fabrics like this. I've been looking for cuts like this.
Yeah.
I remember that very day we went to the market.
Yeah.
It's called Lagos Island in Nigeria. That's where you find the hubs for
Right.
fabric and all of that.
Yeah.
And I just went there and I saw a whole lot of fabrics there. And
Swimming
it
in
felt
the
like
dreams.
a young boy who fell in the candy
Candy
shop.
shop.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh my, I want this, I want this, I want this. And on that day, it took me to the tailor, the trouser tailor. I started with the trouser. I made about 10 trousers ago.
Yeah.
And they were so perfect. Moved on to waistcoat, moved on to jackets.
Yeah.
And before I knew, people started asking, oh, where did you get a trouser from? Where did you?
Yeah.
And because I think it was a lot of people's pain points at that point in time as well to get those kind of trousers,
Yes.
straight cuts, slim. I think now the trousers are now changing.
Yeah.
But at that very point in time, it was what a lot of men wanted as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so whenever they see it on me, and they just, where did you go? Where did you get this from?
Yeah.
At the point, it just had to change and became a business.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's so amazing how little things can point us in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you did 1 year after the 2 days in a week.
Yeah. So I did 2 days a week while I was also doing the course on the side. Even though I really wanted to be in the tailor shop as much as possible, I even squeezed at some point a third half day in. It was very stressful, but I did it because I really wanted them to know that I want to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for a year, and then after a year, I got employed as an apprentice, and so I could be there pretty much every day, from morning till evening. And that's really when I started to do a lot of work in the workshop.
What was the experience like in Savile Row for you?
It was very exciting for me, and I'm sure it's a lot of excitement for people who want to go there as well. Because here I was from the Netherlands, moved to London, and then suddenly the second week I'm going to Savile Row. I'm walking through Regent Street, in the early mornings, and that was very exciting for me. And I didn't know what my future was going to be like, because it was the beginning of an adventure, and you never know how it's going to turn out. Am I going to stay with this company? Am I going to go to another company? Will I start my own business? Will I become something else? I don't know. But what I did know is I'm going to make sure that I learn the skills that I need to become a good tailor as fast as possible and as thorough as possible. So it was a very good experience for me, especially the first, I would say, the first 3 years, the first 2 to 3 years were extremely exciting for me. And then slowly, as I got used to everything and you are used to the workshop environment, that's when I did start to feel a little bit not out of place, but I felt that that was not an environment where I could fully develop the ideas that I had, even though I really wanted to be on Savile Row. So I never intended to have my own business, ever. I just wanted to stay with the company Chittleborough Morgan as long as I could, and as long as that was possible. And so those first 3 years were extremely exciting, but then after the fourth and fifth year, I noticed that the company plateaued and a lot of people left the company. I still stayed, but I felt that maybe there is a possibility of me not staying here. But I still stayed until I really had to go.
Well, at what point then did you make a mind to?
Well, I was fired from Savile Row.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to do a lot of novel ideas. And even though I learned the classic way of tailoring there,
Yeah.
to some extent, I was always questioning things. Why is this technique better than the other? Why are we not designing a new pocket for ourselves? Why are we not changing the way we make canvases? And my boss, Joe, was very tolerant, I would say. I don't think I would be able to do that in other companies. They would have fired me a lot faster. So he was very tolerant. And I think that for someone who's as driven as I am, as creative as I am, at some point you're going to try to search where the boundaries are. It's something you do naturally. Most people don't do it because they just want a job. They want to make jackets, trousers. They do want to do finishing, and as soon as they can do that, they will do that and stay within that framework. But for me, it was like, let me test the borders. Yeah, let me see how far I can push this. And at some point, I think my boss just got fed up with me and he thought, look, you're probably better off on your own if you have all these ideas. It came at the right time, just before COVID. So one day I just got fired and I thought, okay, no big deal. That's fine. Probably for the best. And so I decided to start AKEILÂ, my first company. And as soon as we began AKEILÂ, maybe like 3 or 4 months after, maybe even 2 months after we started AKEILÂ, COVID hit and the whole world sat still. Yeah, nothing happened. And for us, it was a period in which we could take a step back, think about what we want. And that went all the way to a whole year. We took out a whole year to just think about which direction we want to take. And then we started to slowly take on clients.
During that 1 year break, were you guys making clothes or?
We didn't.
It wasn't.
No. We had a lot of people who wanted to have something made, but one, there was COVID. It was difficult to travel, and two, we just decided not to take on any orders for the first year so that we could just develop our ideas. And so we did that, and then a year later, so the second year, that's when we actually opened our doors and slowly started to take in commissions. So that went on, and then I think 1 or 2 years after that, I realized that there's going to be a big problem in the company. And the big problem was, how do you train many people at the same time without running the risk of them leaving and you having wasted your time? And so I thought, well, I can never teach 10 people at the same time, but it's also very inefficient if I want to teach 10 people, because what if all of them leave for whatever reason? Then all the time that I've spent with them is gone, is wasted. And it's not easy to teach someone tailoring. You have to really spend 2 years with them, full time, because there is the knowledge part where they have to know what to do. But then there is the mastery part of them applying it, repeating it, gaining and expanding the experience that they have so that they are ready to take on commissions for clients and do professional work. So making the leap from student to professional. And so I said to my partner, Mowgli, I think we should stop AKEILÂ again, put it on pause, and solve the problem of training. And there was a book I was reading at the time called Competitive Advantage by Michael Porter. It's a solid business book. And it's about how you should think about your business before even starting a business. It talks about how you should see yourself as an entity within the industry that you're in, how to think about your value chain and how you start from one place and who is involved in the production of your product, who your clients are involved with, and really think big. And so I thought, okay, maybe we should start a second business. And that second business purpose is to offer training. The idea would be that I would film everything that I would teach someone within AKEILÄ. I would film all of that and I would make it available for the entire world so that not only I benefit from it, but everyone else can. And that developed very quickly. And within a year, we set up the whole plan, the logistics and all of that for International School of Tailoring. And we started filming. And in the beginning, we thought it was going to be easy, but we realized that it's extremely difficult to film a lot of high quality content because tailoring is difficult to explain. There's a lot of abstract terms.
Yeah.
And you have to see the explanation as well. Because if I tell a student, fold it to the left and then fold it to the right and then turn it over and then you're going to know what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
So you should see every part of the explanation. And so we decided that we wanted to make these videos in a way that has never been done before. Very simple to understand, extremely articulate and distilled. So I don't ramble on for 2 hours and talk about what I like to do, but I just get to the point. And so we started making those videos and now we are into the, I think, second year of International School of Tailoring or even third year, 2.5, 3 years we've been working on. So I'm juggling between two companies.
And how's that been?
It's been very fun, rewarding and challenging, but at the same time, it has given us deep satisfaction, but it is very challenging.
So, are the students for International School of Tailoring, is the classes remote
Yes.
or is
Yes.
classes remote?
Yes, all the lessons are on YouTube and they are available for free.
For free. Wow.
For free. So we could have charged everyone more than you can think of because these lessons are extremely high quality. And everyone who I've talked to, even older and more experienced tailors, have told me personally, you can. One of them said you can teach an old dog new tricks. And so it's been eye-opening for both professionals and students. And so, but we decided to make it free.
But why did you make it free?
Well, I've had that question from many people, and usually they would say, "Why are you giving away your secrets to your competitors? Why are you not monetizing this so that you can just get money from it and make more videos? And why would you spend that time to make all of this for free when you can just keep it for your own company, reduce the production value, and be over with?" This is where the Michael Porter book came in. So if you are in an industry and that industry is very poor, and by poor I mean it doesn't have a lot of opportunities, it's going to be very difficult for you as a company to compete, to be alive, because a bad industry usually doesn't have sophisticated customers. It doesn't really have efficient ways for logistics. Suppliers are not always scattered. They're always concentrated in one country. For example, with trimmings for tailoring, it's usually the UK, but most of them are in Italy. So all the weavers are of canvases and linings and a lot of fabrics. Most of them are in Italy. Now imagine you live in New Zealand. Actually, New Zealand produces a lot of wool, but they don't really have a lot of suppliers for tailoring materials. Or imagine you live in, I don't know, let's say you live in Somalia. There's not an industry for tailoring there, as you would compare to what you have in Italy.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Or what you have in London.
Yeah. Even in London, it's difficult to get good quality trimmings. We are ordering from Italy. So imagine you want to have good linings, good canvases, a good selection of threads, tapes, things like that, haberdasheries. So if you're living in Chile or Argentina, wherever you might be, it's going to be difficult to learn tailoring. And so I thought it's a simple calculation. If I make these videos available for free, everyone has access to Wi-Fi, more or less. Now the world is so that even if you're the poor shepherd, you still have your Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi and your 4G.
Everybody's connected.
Exactly. So if the videos are available for free and you can access them on YouTube, well, that's going to, in the long term, that's going to create a lot of people who can pursue their talents in tailoring. At least they have access to the knowledge, so they don't have to move to the UK or to Italy, pay for an expensive tailoring school just to learn the basics. Now, what if I give them the highest quality version of the basics and I even translate those videos in different languages? Well, that's going to create a new generation of tailors that would otherwise never exist. If they come about, well, then there's going to be a lot more demand for tailoring supplies, tailoring fabrics. A new market is created. This is not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen in 10 years or 20 years. So I could either charge everyone £1,000 per video or £1,000 per module, whatever, or I could make it available for free.
Make the barrier of entry difficult.
Exactly. Remove it. Remove the barrier of entry. So
No. I mean, if you're charging the one,
yes.
make the barrier of entry.
Exactly. So now there's courses that you pay £10,000 for,
Yeah.
£30,000 for, £8,000 for, and when those students are finished, yes, maybe they have made a jacket for themselves, or yes, maybe they have learned the basics, but really, was it worth it? £10,000, £8,000? Yes, it's worth it if there is nothing else available, but is it worth it when you can get the same thing for free? Right? That changes the market. It changes the conversation. So you don't have to be rich to learn tailoring, because there's a lot of talent in poor areas. You know, most artists came from poor backgrounds. Why not make tailoring available for people who actually have the talent? Maybe not the money, but they have the talent and the persistence. And then think about this. If, let's say, you're in some village in Latin America and you learn tailoring with our videos, now you can make something for your neighbor. And if you like it, exactly your story. If your friends like it, they're going to be like, can you make one for me? And can you make one for her and for him? Right? And then you can set up a workshop. If you set up a workshop, you're going to attract customers. If you attract customers, you can then someone thinks, oh, there are 2 tailoring shops there. Maybe I should start supplying fabrics in this country. Okay, then you get a whole chain of events. So now there is an opportunity for the industry to grow. That's one side of it. But then there is the other selfish part. I want to have access to the highest talent available worldwide. And I want to be able to train them before they even arrive at my place. So if someone says, I want to work with you, I'll say, fine, I'll believe you, but you do have to make the videos you do have to make the jackets that I've put out for free on YouTube. And if they really want to work with me, they're going to make the jackets, and then they're going to come back. But if they don't, and they just wanted the knowledge, well, the knowledge is already there. Don't waste my time. So from that moment onwards, we thought the videos have to be free.
Oh.
Yeah.
And have you had any students coming back to reach you from the videos you're making to say they want to work with you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Wintry is actually one of them.
Oh,
yes. And a friend
of the benefactors.
No, but also a friend of mine in Athens, from his company's name is Bespoke Athens.
Okay.
He told me that the videos have been the best filter he's had so far, because we have a problem in our industry which is even bigger than that. You see, because knowledge is scarce, a lot of students go to the tailoring shops and they say, I want to work with you. But really deep down, they just want the knowledge. Fair enough, because that's the only way they can learn it. And so the companies are reluctant to take on the students because they also know from experience, how do I know whether you're going to stay after a year?
Because once they get the knowledge,
Yeah.
the heart's of there.
Now, both of them are going to go into this relationship half-hearted, because as a business owner, I don't know what your intention is, and you as a student notices that I don't really give you my full time, and you think, well, if I'm not getting all the full attention, why should I stay? It's a dead end
issue.
Yeah, it's a trust issue. So I thought these videos are going to solve that problem as well. Now, maybe not with our videos. I think every tailoring company should have their own version available, their own video series. But it solves the problem of trust. Look, do you want to work with me? Fine. Here are 2 jackets that I want you to make. The videos are for free. If you come back with the 2 jackets, as Wingchu did, then I know, okay, you are here to work with me, not just for the knowledge. Now I can give you my full commitment.
and then guide and
then you create a good bond. And then there is no trust issue anymore. And so that removes students with dubious agendas. And at the same time, it removes the suspicion that companies have towards their students. And so an industry with better trust and more relationships is a far healthier industry than an industry where everyone is mistrusting each other.
and the unhealthy competition.
Exactly.
So I guess what you've then tried to do is to say, you know what, instead of you having a small table
Mm-hmm.
where your favorite meal is only served,
Yeah.
let's have a bigger table
Yeah.
that everybody can come
Yeah.
there
Absolutely.
and just take. You have different foods
Yeah.
from different
Yes. Exactly.
from all over the world, so
Yes.
that the table is big enough
Yeah.
to create opportunity for everyone.
Yes. Because look, here is one absolute truth. I love this. This is from Warren Buffett, a very wise man. You can be a very good company in a terrible industry. And that's, not really a good place to be. Or you could be a terrible company in a very good industry. I much rather be a terrible company in a very good industry than to be an exceptional company in an industry that has no future. And I think if your business does well in the tailoring industry and it contributes to the well-being of the industry, well, that's going to benefit me as well. Sometimes you have direct competition. It's like I make blue suits, you make blue suits, and we are neighbors. So if one customer comes to your shop, that means they're not coming to my shop. That means we have a clash. But sometimes, and this is most cases, we have indirect competition, which makes it no competition. So for example, someone who wants heritage British military suits or military clothing might go to Dejan Skinner, might go to Henry Poole, will definitely not go to, let's say, Michael Brown, because he doesn't do ancient British military clothing. He does sleek, modern suits. They're not really in competition because they don't really have the same clientele. But what they do both benefit from is, are there enough people interested in handcraft bespoke suits?
Yeah.
Right? And this is why in the beginning, when I was introduced to the world of tailoring, my first or second year in tailoring, I had a very shallow view of the role of bloggers and people who make videos about influencers. Because, I thought, and this is a view that some other tailors might have as well, and it's a fair view, I think. I thought, well, what do these bloggers or these style experts know about the canvas? I'm here sitting 12 hours a day stitching this canvas. And then some, influencer walks up to the tailor shop and says, look, this is how the canvas is made. And I'm thinking, you have no idea what you're talking about. But now that I have matured a little bit, I realize what the role is.
That role is important.
Their role is to attract and gain the attention of people who are interested in bespoke suits. Once they are interested, they can do their own research, right? So I think people like Simon Crompton, Kirby Allison, Hugo Giacometti, these are all very famous influencers who have attracted thousands of people, their attention to the world of handcraft suits. And that's a very good thing, because the more people are aware of bespoke suits and they don't think of it as, oh, there's just alteration tailors or dry cleaners, then the more we are going to have access to those clients. Some of them will go to Chittlebarrow Morgan, some of them will go to Michael Brown, some of them will go to Gibbs and Hawkes, some of them will go to me, some of them will go to another.
But there is enough people to go around.
That's
the one.
Yes. And I think our goal as bespoke tailors is to serve our clients the best way possible, but do that in a way that makes the industry healthier, that increases the amount of suppliers, that increases the amount of small local tailoring shops where they have access to knowledge, tailoring schools, things like that. And I think that's going to benefit everyone, period. And this is the way I am contributing to it.
Wow. That is a great work you're doing.
I hope so.
No, you, because I think one of the most profound thing is that you are shooting your video here in London.
Yes.
You don't know how far the reach is going.
Yeah.
There's probably a kid who has lost hope somewhere in the world.
Yes.
What will stumble upon your video.
Yeah.
And from that, even if he does not know how to apply that, he's already learning little things. And this is one thing I've noticed about fashion, not just even fashion or craft. Anything you put time or you plant a seed in there, it's just a matter of time for you to have a forest
That's true.
grow out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't know who is watching the video, who might be the next big fashion
The
design.
big legend.
Yeah, the big legend.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So, and we are now even in the age that you're making the video for 2024 or 2025 as we are in at the moment.
Yes.
But in another 30 years or 40 years, when you can't even make those videos again, or you're too big to even make those videos again, there's still another child, another generation that are
Forever. Yeah.
that will still stumble upon those videos.
Yeah.
So, which makes the work evergreen, and which as well puts you in that position as a leader in the industry. I would say that's itself, it's an amazing.
Yeah. Well, look, I think there is a, first of all, we have to see what the future is going to bring, because maybe in 20 years time, someone else is going to do even better videos, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe with virtual reality and all of that, there's going to be a whole different way of learning tailoring. Maybe you're going to put those glasses on and you can already work away without any materials. I don't know. But what I did was, when I studied the older books and I actually went through them page by page, first of all, there were thousands of books. I couldn't go through thousands of books. I went through, probably because there's a lot of rubbish and garbage books out there as well. But I think I went through 260, 70, maybe even close to the range of 300 books, because it's an ongoing thing. I still study them. And I read them literally page by page. And I realized how many tailors actually tried to contribute. Now, imagine none of them did. Imagine that all of them thought, I'm going to keep all my secrets to myself.
They come into the industry just to take.
Yeah. And well, I would not have access to those books. And that would have made my task even more difficult. And that would have made the industry even poorer than what it would be.
Because there's nothing to build from the last.
Yeah. You know that the whole thing of standing on the shoulders of giants? Well,
yes.
We need more giants. And so if there are no giants, maybe we can try to be a giant ourselves by putting out the work in and contributing. And so my intention is to create something that allows, like you say, some child in some corner of the world who is a legend in the making to start, to have a shoulder to sit on, and then develop that further in whichever direction that they want or can.
How rewarding has this journey been so far?
Very rewarding. It's because you get people who send you messages, and those are messages that the average person doesn't receive messages like that. Maybe once or twice from some friend. But when, hundreds of people, dozens of people, at some point, thousands of people are sending you those messages, private or publicly in a comment, it's easy to overlook that and take that for granted at some point. And they can easily turn into a notification, and you're like,
well, someone.
Yeah, it's like, oh, another 5,000th person says thank you. But I really try to cherish that. I really try to meditate on that and think there is someone real in the other side of the world. And these videos have been helpful, and they are taking the time to say thank you. When I was a teenager, I was a big Michael Jackson fan, and also Eminem. And I, at the time, internet was not really a thing. There was no social media. I didn't even have a cell phone. But I was dreaming, what if I could write a letter to Michael Jackson one day and just tell him, like, thank you for the great shows that you're putting out, or tell Eminem how inspired I've been with his rap.
Thrust me out of this dark day.
Yeah, exactly. But now people can do that. You can go on Instagram and send Eminem a message. Now, whether he's going to read it or not, that's a different story. But you can't do that. And so when people send me a message and they are grateful, it makes me very happy. Because it validates it. If we want to get philosophical here, it validates my existence. Because, what is the purpose of my existence? Well, I don't know. I might never know. But if someone is happy with me being out there and doing work and my existence is a net positive, that's fulfilling. And I have very little to complain, even though I do complain a lot in private, and I complain about, how much delays we have and how annoying it is that the internet provider is, not providing fast enough internet and things like that. But it really helps me to remain grateful.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you mind taking me back to the early age of Reza? As a younger child, what did you dream to become, or what was the future? What future were you looking at back then?
As far as I remember, there was art around me because my father is a painter and my mom is a graphic designer. And my father had his atelier inside our house. So from the first days that I remember, there was paint around me and there was wood around me and there was canvas around me. And my mom would make clothes for herself from time to time. So there was creative work around me. And I always was fascinated with experiments. I loved the science book that said, if you wrap a wire around a piece of metal and connect it to the battery, it's going to do this and that. It was magic for me. And but I never really had someone who would be an actual scientist. My dad was pretty good at those things, but he was painting a lot of times. So I did a lot of drawing, and I was interested in music, very much so, and that has continued throughout my life. But then we moved from Iran to the Netherlands when I was about 9 years old, and in the Netherlands, I kept on studying creative things. I did game design for a while. I did sound design. I was obsessed with rap music at some point. I used to.
Maybe at some point you're going to stare at us.
I used to rap in Dutch, and I actually wanted to become a sound designer. And when I was a bit younger, so that's about 11-ish, I was obsessed with Michael Jackson. And one day I asked my dad, I said, do you, this is quite funny. I said, do you think Michael Jackson would appreciate it if I asked him whether I could replace him after he dies? And my dad says, well, you could ask him, but that will probably make him think that you want him to die as soon as possible. So I didn't ask Michael Jackson that. And so, but I was, into art a lot, aesthetics, and a lot of craft. And, but never anything tailoring related, ever.
Now let's talk about bespoke tailoring. You've been into the world of bespoke tailoring for almost a decade. What makes bespoke tailoring different?
Mm-hmm.
Because I see the cost of bespoke suits.
Mm-hmm.
The prices are up high there.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So what's the difference between made to measure and bespoke suits? Why would you say bespoke suits is different?
Well, I can't say that bespoke suits are different because different companies have their own definitions of what bespoke is.
Okay.
And I think for your viewers, this is very important because I will speak from a disinterested outsider, unbiased.
Mm-hmm.
I could go into the script of, bespoke is about craft and it's about handwork and it's about, the service and all of that. But quite frankly, we are now in a situation where everyone can claim to be a bespoke tailor. And with all the information and knowledge out there that people know about bespoke, still the majority of clients will not be able to make that technical judgment of whether or not a bespoke suit is worth the value that the company is charging. So the standard cliches are made to measure is based off a block. And so you go ahead, they make the suit or they have already made it and they just make a few alterations. Order is, based on whatever you order. It could be muddled up with made to measure still because the business models are fluctuating all the time. But one thing that has really changed is the quality of fit in made to measure garments sometimes is better and supersedes that of inexperienced bespoke tailors. Because the pattern and the construction that you get from a made to measure suit comes from a lot of data and a lot of testing and a lot of experimentation. And because on average, most successful made-to-measure companies have a lot of funding and money to play with, think of Suit Supply, for example, they can research far more in depth than any bespoke tailor would be able to do on their own. A bespoke tailor does not have access to the data set of measures of 100,000 clients. They just don't. And they don't have a team big enough to test out different hypotheses. But a factory can do that. A factory can make 700 different constructions, say this one was better than this one was better than this one lasted longer than this one, and they can perfect the model. So that makes the fit of a lot of made-to-measure suits almost to the same level of bespoke tailors. Now, what is then the difference? Why should you pay £3,000 more for a bespoke suit? That's a difficult question to answer because tailors are not created equal. A lot of tailors offer the same standard service with just a different name. They use sometimes the same freelance tailors with just a different name. And sometimes they think, well, while I'm at it and I'm so special, why don't I just charge you £7,000 for a jacket because it's my brand? Kind of like the take it or leave it thing, But that's where the client really has to become more informed and be more discriminating in how they choose their tailors. Sometimes you just love a house style. You think, oh, I love soft shoulders. I love soft this and that. I'm just going to go with this tailor because I have no time to research. And whatever they charge me, I assume it's going to be honest. And most of the time it is. But at the same time, when are you being overcharged? What exactly are you receiving? And how do you know that another tailor does it better or not? You can't judge that because as a client, you're not a bespoke tailor to make the technical judgment. So the real difference, I think, comes in, well, it's going to be very subjective. Maybe you're going to go to a very bad tailor, but they are so nice that they make you feel comfortable. And you think, well, I trust this tailor. I'm just going to stick with this tailor. Even the price is right for me. It's okay, not too expensive, not too cheap. But then there are other times you actually go to a superior tailor, terrible service. They don't answer your emails, or they're very good technically, but they just don't have the atmosphere. They travel, or you only see them in a hotel. And then you think, well, I don't like this tailor, whereas they are much better than the other. So a lot of it is subjective. From my point of view, I can give perhaps a few guidelines. The first one is, can you get exactly the same product from another tailor at a higher price or a lower price? And you can usually judge that by, if you have read enough blogs and you've read enough about books and things about bespoke, is there a color gap? Does it last long? Does it look neat, clean? Does the tailor share what they put into the jacket or suit? Are they open about that? Who is making the suits? You should have good background information. I'm always very skeptical about tailors who claim to have a team of tailors, but you never see anything about, you never see hands working on a suit. It's always like, place your order here and fill in your measures, and so that's probably a starter. And the other one is, do they offer what you're after? Maybe you just want a basic suit that fits well. Don't go bespoke, because you can buy that from Suit Supply. Really, I truly mean that. Maybe you don't really care about the handwork or care about the individual who was making the suit. So I think the first thing is, do you really want to be involved with the world of artisans? Do you want to know the artisans who have made your suit? Do you want to have a relationship, one-on-one relationship with the tailor who's making the suit for you? If not, and you just want to have a decent suit, choose the best MTM company and go with them. But if you do want to have a relationship with a tailor, see whether or not they care about their artisans, whether you're ever introduced to them. See whether or not they are open in their communication about what goes into your suit, and how accommodating they are. There is one thing that I personally don't really like, and that is the idea of house styles. Not that house styles are bad. They are very good in making tailors recognizable, and that's beneficial for clients, because they can quickly say, oh, this is soft suits, I don't like it, I want structured, I go with these tailors. But at the same time, maybe you look better in structured suits and not in soft shoulders, or the reverse. Maybe you look much better in soft shoulders than structured suits. I think a tailor should be able to accommodate for that. And if they are technically well established, they should be able to do that. They should never say, oh, that's not what we do. Unless, I mean, you don't want people to walk into a tailor shop and give them their designs and be like, make this for me, although there is a market for that. But I think one of the markers is, can they understand who you are as a person and then decide what would make your personality shine forth the best way? That's a different skill. That's beyond just the techniques. Every tailor can make a suit by doing padding stitches, doing pockets, and the knowledge is out there. But can they make you a suit
That is tailored for you.
that is you? That if I would put this jacket on, even if it would fit me, the viewer would still say, that's not you. That's what I think.
And what makes a suit to say that is you?
I think that, there are people who walk into the room and they are so loud that all the attention goes to them. And there are people who walk into a room, they are completely silent, and still all the attention goes to them, right? You've met those people. But there are also people that just by looking at them for one split second, you're attracted to them. Or maybe you're repelled by them. You're like, I don't like this person. I don't know why. I've seen them for like 1 second, but there is something about them, right? Body language, eye contact, facial features, style, hairstyle, beard style, eyebrow style, the way they look at you. Maybe, when they look at you, they have these judgmental eyes. Maybe they look at you and they're like all dopey and kind of like bored, or they don't even look at you. All of those things are markers. Now, an artist can turn that into visual elements. So let's say you are, let's do a thought exercise. Let's say you're a very powerful individual who is extremely attractive and projects this warmth. You feel like you can talk to this person forever. That person, if you would translate it in a very basic sense, kind of like thinking out loud right now, is definitely not a gray mohair. Gray mohair is like cold, city, tough business negotiator, real estate. It's not the person you want to hug, right? But a boucle melange cashmere type of fabric with maybe warmer colors, maybe dark brown, maybe dark green, dark red, or a combination of those colors. When you look at that, you think, I'd like to feel this fabric, I'd like to get closer. That's one way of making a translation from a personality to cloth. But you could also think about the design. So imagine that you are a tough negotiator. You have to be. You have to be intimidating at work. Well, I'm never going to give you a soft-shouldered, fuzzy, dark brown fabric for you to enter the negotiation room. If you are doing $1 billion investment deal and your opponent is quite aggressive and you have to level that energy, well, you require to have something that has presence. Maybe you need to have a peak lapel instead of a square lapel. Or maybe if you want to show that you're a little bit older and a bit more well-established, you should go for that square lapel. And maybe you should even make it a bit narrower than normal. Less stylish, just a little bit, to show that you're a very conservative type that cannot be pushed around. Those are small, subtle details, and a tailor who's just been making suits doesn't see that. It requires an artist to see that. An artist who has mastered the craft. That's how I look at it. Or let's say imagine my partner, she goes to salsa, and there's all sorts of people there. And everyone is dancing in turns, right? There's like 40 people there, and you have like 3 minutes with one person, and then you switch to another person. Well, imagine you want to have a date there and you go to salsa. You should definitely not be dressed up as a business executive who's out there to get drunk and just, throw some money at some ladies. Maybe you're not that person, but you're just dressed like that person. Well, that's going to send off a message, right? And maybe you're going to attract the wrong type of lady, or maybe you're going to repel the right type of lady, even if you would be the right person for her, you know? And so I once had an interaction with someone who wanted to go to a party. And he was looking at fabrics, and he suddenly says, "That's the one." And it was a very bright baby blue, shiny fabric, linen and cashmere, I think. And I said, "That's a very bold fabric to go for." He said, "But yeah, it's a party." And I said, "What kind of a party is it?" And he said, "It's a government party." And I thought, okay, what's your position in the government? He said, "Well, I'm very close to the secretary of the president." And I thought, what is everyone wearing there? And he said, "Yeah, everyone is just wearing, black and gray. And I don't want to,
You don't want to blend in.
blend in."
Different.
And I thought, if everyone is at a level of presidential level government party, you should definitely not wear that color, because you're going to be the only one who's wearing that color. And unless you are the boss of that president, you should not wear that. So I tried to talk him out of it. And I did, because there's that, you could wear something like that if it's, you are hosting a new party for the new house that you bought,
Or attended a friend's wedding.
or a friend's wedding, maybe after party, because you don't want to draw all the attention from your friend to yourself. It's his or hers wedding. And so those are things to consider. But really, I think the shift of where the difference is going to be between made to measure and bespoke is not going to be in the construction or the fit anymore. I think in 10 years' time, everything is going to shift into how well does this tailor help me to express my individuality and my personality. And I think that's where the level field of competition is going to be. And I know that there's a lot of potential for that, because there is a lot of fashion students who have the mindset of a designer and the mindset of an artist, but who chose to become a bespoke artisan. And they are going to do something very different
From what has been existing.
Yeah, because if you go really back in time, most people became tailors not because they were fashion artists. They became tailors because you could choose between becoming an electrician, butcher, plumber, woodworker, metalworker, tailor, or shopkeeper. Those were the jobs, the standard jobs. And if you were lucky, you would choose the one that fitted your temperament. If you were unlucky, you were forced into it because you were from a poor family, or
So work was for work.
it was for work.
Not now that people have the option to say, "Oh, I want to." For example, you could have chosen to stay as a graphic designer.
Yes.
But you said you're in love with tailoring.
Yes.
And you're bringing that knowledge
Yeah.
of a graphic artist
Yes.
into tailoring,
Yes.
which makes you different
Yes.
entirely.
And now here's the difference. You have fashion artists who do not master the craft. They just give the ideas, and another tailor does the work for them. That's a very different level. But when you are, let's say, a painter, and then you go and study, let's say, to become a tailor or an electrician, that's a strange combination, right? Okay, if you master both and you know the ins and outs technically
Of both.
what will come out of that has nuclear power. It's very different.
Explosive.
It's explosive because you're not just an idea person. You can also walk the talk. And I think we're going to see more of that in the future, with a lot of people who had a background in one thing, mastered that, and then entered another game. And they have an outsider mindset. And I think an outsider mindset disrupts industries.
Okay. It's been an amazing conversation so far. And thank you so much for your time. If there is a young person out there trying to come into the fashion industry or trying to come into the creative or arts industry, what advice would you give to them?
I would say prioritize the skills that you need to learn so that you can make anything that your mind can imagine.
If you were to look back to advise the young Reza looking through your journey through the years, what would that advice be?
If I would give an advice to myself,
Yeah.
what age am I?
What age? Oh, maybe 10, 12, 15.
I would tell myself, whatever you do, learn how to monetize it and learn about money.
And learn about money.
Yeah, do not think of money as something dirty.
As
Because do not think that just because you need to make money, you're doing something filthy.
yeah.
Because, well, there is a lot of people who think that making money is about money, but
Mhm.
it's not always about money. Even charities, even non-for-profits need money to do good out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You have to eat, you have to sleep, you need to have a good workspace, you need to have a team, you need to be able to make sure the team is healthy, they have enough in their personal lives. And so the better your relationship is with money, the better you can control it instead of it controlling you. And so I would advise myself to learn about money as early as possible so that I can practice as early as possible the business side of things.
Things.
Because a lot of crafts, a lot of artisans are purists. And they are, as in my experience has been, they are the type that prefer to stay poor but be real. You know, the artist who was real to the art but remained poor because didn't want to be a sellout or whatever.
Hmm.
But I think that's a very flawed view about money and about monetization and commercialism. There are genuinely people who are shallow and they are commercial and they attract a lot of money, but they don't make the best use of the money.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you are someone who has something to say, something to do good in the world for, if you cannot have money and don't know how to manage money, then you are everything what you do is going to go to waste. That's what I would advise myself.
How did you?
I would give that advice with a big smack on the back of my head.
How did you raise your own funds for your business?
Well, in the beginning, it was, it's the typical savings. Then I had a startup loan in the very beginning for AKEILÂ.
Okay.
And then it was just making sure that I make good use of that money. And then there was the clients that I would look after with commissions. And slowly it was just try to just manage it as much as possible until you have more money coming in
Mm-hmm.
and do that. And then with International School of Tailoring, we launched a few products as well because, the videos are for free. We don't make any money on those videos. And what we get with YouTube adverts is very little. It's not even anything you could see as substantial. So we had a product called Purple Box, which students can buy. That has been successful. And it's essentially the same materials that I use in the videos. And when you buy those, you can start right away with exactly the same video.
The same material.
Same material. So you can evaluate the work. You have everything you need. You don't need to think about quantities. Everything is in one box, free shipping. It goes to every country that allows that box to be entering the country.
Oh wow.
So that has been good for us. It's been good for our cash flow. And we have I designed a thimble for professional tailors, and that's been very well. And besides that, of course, our client commissions with AKEILÂ. So we became good in squeezing the dollar or stretching the dollar, as they say. And we are now actually looking into crowdfunding for our project, our bigger project for next year, which is going to be an alterations library. So that's the continuation of the videos that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's so big, we really need funding for this one. It's going to be a series of videos, more than 200. It's going to show you every single alteration that you can make on a jacket to improve the fit of. And you can see a before
And a half.
and an after. And at the same time, you can see the change being animated on the pattern,
Oh wow.
right? It has never been done before in tailoring because the medium wasn't there. The right people were not there. Now we have the right people.
And you have the media.
And the technology. Yes, we just need the funding. So if people do want to support that project, you can follow the whole thing, the campaign, on internationalschooloftailoring.com, and you can contribute to this because this project is really going to create legends. in the future.
I am not. There is no doubt at all about it. And yeah, and you're someone who is passionate about what you do, so I'm very optimistic for
Thank you.
what the future holds for you
I appreciate
and the brand, the International School of Tailoring. International School of Tailoring or International Tailoring School.
It's International School of Tailoring.
Okay, yeah,
That's one company, and AKEILÀ is the other.
and AKEILÀ is the other.
Yeah.
And we have Reza, the brain behind it. Nice to have this conversation. But before we round up, there's this game we play. Oh, you're supposed to rap for us in Dutch, yeah.
I'm not gonna do that this time. Maybe another time.
All right, there's this game we're playing. It's a this or that game. We, for example, if I ask you black or white, which is your favorite?
All right.
So, are you a morning or evening person?
Definitely morning. I wake up 4:20 every day.
4:20
Yes,
every day.
yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what time do you get there?
Around 8 p.m., 9 p.m.
You do wow.
I do long hours. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Winter. Why did you like winter?
I like snow. I like to stay inside, and I like fire. And I like hot drinks.
So perfect combination.
And I do like a good barbecue as well. So summer is good for that, but I'm the type of person who enjoys the barbecue more in the winter.
More in the winter.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay. Coffee or chocolate?
Ooh, very difficult. You know what? It's a weasel answer, but it's true. I always go for a mocha. So it's it's in between coffee and hot chocolate.
Coffee and not.
But generally I have more coffee than hot chocolate.
Okay. And Amsterdam or London?
I probably have to go for London.
You go for London. Why London?
Amsterdam is very vibrant. It's a world city, but I feel that London has just a little bit more to offer. You can really do everything in London, especially if you are a creative. I feel that Amsterdam is, in the Netherlands in general, is not as open to all sorts of industries as London is. In London, you can really become whatever you can think of. In Amsterdam, there's limitations. Of course, I could have become a tailor in Amsterdam, but it would have been much more difficult than in London. And I like the London shops. I like the whole experience of, the buildings, the coffee shops. There's also a lot about London that kind of like gets me frustrated. For example, the strange thing about London that I've noticed is you don't have nice areas and bad areas. You just have it's always mixed up. It's like, so you have a perfect street.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful, shiny, all of that, new, everything. And then you literally have a whole row of the oldest buildings that are about to crumble. And I have a theory about this. I think they've done it intentionally so that the people in the nice houses look at the people in the dodgy houses and they say, thank God we live in this nice house, let's be grateful.
Mm-hmm.
And the people in the dodgy houses look at the people in the nice and they think, one day I want to live in a car
Just to inspire them.
just to inspire. No, I don't know if that theory holds up, but maybe it creates a lot of resentment. I don't know, but that's kind of London would be for me the answer.
London. And the very last one, quite tricky.
Okay.
AKEILÀ or International School of Tailoring?
You're putting me in a very difficult position. Well, that's difficult, but I do have to give you an answer. Well, there would be no AKEILÀ without the education that is necessary for the artisans that AKEILÀ would need. Because you can have all the vision you want, and you can have all the dreams, but if you cannot make it happen, if no other person can make it happen because the knowledge is not there, then that dream is just a dream. It's a fantasy. Because most companies are built by people who get work done and they know how to do it. And AKEILÀ would not exist without that knowledge. You know, maybe I could do it on my own, because I have learned the skills, but it would be a very small dream.
Okay. And on that note, we've brought this to an end. Thank you so much
It's my pleasure.
for having me.
Thank you for the interview.
Yeah, best of lucks.
Thank you very much.
And best of luck to the funds you're raising
Thank you.
to build the alteration school.
Yeah.
Alteration library, right?
Yeah, alteration library. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.